Good evening and welcome to my midweek recap here for Apple and plan ahead for the rest of the week. Price action is pretty much following the SPY very nicely, although Apple is at all-time highs, so it's probably a little bit more strength in it than the S&P 500, but that may change depending on how the market starts to act. So on to the trade that I have taken already in Apple this week. Monday pretty much did nothing. As you can see, gapped up, chopped around, started to fall back down, created another range, and broke down hard below it on Tuesday. Ran right into my favorite line to trade off of, the 8 EMA. Price action came down, got in a beautiful entry here of these 25 May 187.5 calls here at 154. Ended up taking half those off at 176, a little bit too fast there end of the day on Tuesday. Held the remainder for a nice pop up, locked in some gains. Excuse me. Um, on the rollover here mid-morning, got out at 240 of the rest of them. So overall, very nice trade there, and got into another play here towards the end of the day. Looked like price action was breaking out of a flag pattern above this. Expected a short squeeze above this 188.5 level. Kind of tricked me into a trade. Came down and triggered in some stops. Luckily my stop loss was just outside of this chop area, and I'm still holding those overnight. Now what I'm going to be looking for tomorrow on the open is a move above this 188.5 level. I will actually try my best to add into those pretty quickly off of the open for an overall measured move up here to about 190 and a quarter, 190.50 area, which does take it above the previous all-time high. And at that point, all those bears that like to short all-time highs will probably have to rethink their strategy and look for another opportunity, most likely start closing their positions, and it'll just be over from there. That's the main play that I'm looking at off the open. If for some reason this does fail, I will stop out my position down here just below this 187.5 level, which was the gap area. I'm assuming that this gap is going to be considered filled now and a legitimate push up higher in order to add into this play. Volume yesterday actually looked very decent for a touch of the 8 EMA, and just like I've said in many of my videos before, if price action is making new highs, comes back and pulls into the 8 EMA, it's very understandable to expect at least one more new high out of it. As long as it closes on highs, then every pullback to the 8 EMA I will continue to buy. If it does pull back down here, I will still take another stab at some plays off the 8 EMA if the 185 calls about 2 weeks out. If it pulls back any further, all the way down here, I have the 21 EMA is 180 calls. So I will look for about 2 weeks out as well. And of course, the 50 SMA, which is way down here below at 175, I'd also look for 175 calls approximately 2 weeks out in the future. So that's the trade plan that I have going forward here for Apple. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below. Come check us out at tradecrew.com. It is a free chat room where you can follow along with a lot of these plays in real time. Have a good evening and good luck.